Welcome back to This Week in Louisiana Politics. Well, the cost of homeowners insurance in Louisiana continues to be an issue that state lawmakers and others are trying to get a handle on. A little history here. This has been an issue for years, obviously, and Louisiana's tipping point may have been a few years ago when more than 20 insurance companies pulled up stakes and left the state or went insolvent, leaving homeowners no choice but to sign on with even more expensive policies. This summer, at the direction of Governor Jeff Landry, the state legislature passed a handful of insurance reform bills. Some would argue that it worked, others not so much. But out of that session, the Insurance Premium Study Group was created. And sitting in that group, in that committee, Louisiana Secretary of Revenue, Richard Nelson. He joins us now. Secretary Nelson, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to ask you, and I blogged on to the meeting that you guys had last week, and you guys were talking about the taxing of insurance companies for premiums. So I think a lot of homeowners would be surprised to know that this happens, and even more surprised is that those taxes and that cost is being passed on to them. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah. So it's a problem that we tried to address in the regular session this year. Representative Chance Henry had a bill to basically try and lower this tax. It's about 3% of the premium. So of every dollar that you pay for your homeowners, for your car insurance, about 3% of that cost is really just a tax that, goes to state government. And so we wanted to look at that. That's one of the highest rates in the country. And of course, I think if you go across the state of Louisiana, one of the biggest complaints is the cost of insurance, right? And so we actually have one of the highest tax rates on some of the highest premiums. So it ends up being a lot of money. It's almost just on those premiums, about $500 million a year of tax that's charged on that. And so we wanted to look at a way to lower that amount, trying to phase down some of those taxes. And the other thing is about it is that, you don't see that on your premium. You pay a check, to your insurance company, and they have to remit the tax on the back end. And so it's kind of insidious in that it's not like your income tax. It's not like your sales tax where you get a receipt and you see how much it costs you. It's just built into the premiums. And so we did want to find a way to try and work that amount down so that people can save some money on their premiums. And I think it would make the state more competitive for insurance across the board if you didn't have this really complicated tax built into the premium structure that currently insurance companies have to comply with.
And is that by design that people can't see what they're being taxed?
Sure. So this has been in place for a long time. I would say that it's, most taxes should be transparent to people. And I think that gives you a better outcome. More visibility makes, I think, people more honest. But it might have been why they put it into place to begin with, is that, if people don't know they're paying it, it's easier for the government to get away with it. And so that's part of the reason why we're trying to fix it, is I think we'd rather rely on more transparent taxes so people can have more of a say in it, as opposed to something like taxing somebody's insurance premiums. You don't have a lot of options when it comes to insurance. You're going to have to you mostly have to have it. And if it's not even displayed to you, it's very, very hard to people to really have a voice in there.
How much revenue does the state raise through this?
Sure. So just the tax on just the kind of fire and casualty part, which is your homeowners insurance, your car insurance, the tax is about $500 million a year, and then we give a bunch of credits to insurance companies on top of that. That kind of lowers the overall amount the state actually makes to about $300 million a year. But it is hundreds of millions of dollars the state makes. And then to put on top of that, it's, when your premiums go up, the taxes go up, right? Because it's a percentage of the total premium. So we really don't want the state making more money because your premiums go up.
You mentioned credits to the companies, the insurance companies. Can those credits be passed on to the consumer, the homeowners?
So yeah, that's kind of up for debate. Is that the insurance companies are able to get this really complicated credit based on some investments they make in the state. And supposedly that amount, ends up with a lower premium because the insurance companies are able to reduce the total amount of taxes they pay. But it is this really complex process that they have to try and predict in advance. And so we'd rather just have a lower rate, so a lower cost up front, so that really people can experience the full benefit of just having a lower tax rate across the board.
Yeah, Secretary Nelson, I think by now a lot of viewers are probably wondering, the same thing, which is why can't you guys just lower that rate? What would that take?
Yeah, so I mean, that was kind of our goal, is to try and simplify this process, not have this complicated credit and everything, and have a lower rate. That way we can be more competitive too. So, when other companies come and write insurance in Louisiana, we have to charge them the higher rate. And when Louisiana insurance companies write insurance outside of the state, the other states will actually charge a higher rate to compensate for the fact that Louisiana's rate is higher. And so we actually have another tax credit for insurance companies to pay other states, or pay those companies for the other states having lower rates than us. And so we'd really rather just have a lower rate across the board that would allow us to actually charge foreign insurance companies more money when they sell insurance here, instead of what we do, and basically give a rebate to for the money that other people, that the insurance companies pay to these other states. And so it's kind of this weird complicated process that really just ends up with people in Louisiana paying more for insurance, which we obviously don't want.
So your study group was created to help lower these rates, and the 2025 legislative session, the regular session, also put in some reform bills. Do you feel like the state is heading in the right direction in lowering insurance rates?
I do feel like it's it's moving in the right direction. I mean, I was in the legislature from 2019 to 2024. I think that was a kind of a frustrating time because everybody's premiums were going up, and it felt like we really weren't making much progress. But the legislature has passed a significant number of bills. The governor has supported those to really make a dent, change the environment here in Louisiana. I think it takes a little while for those things to come to fruition, but I think you're starting to see, rates come down a little bit, and at least moderate in any of these increases. And I think going forward, you're going to start seeing even a greater amount of changes on the insurance front. And so I think we're moving in the right direction. I think this insurance premium tax is another piece of the puzzle to try and make Louisiana, I think, more in line with what other states pay. And then also just make it more competitive. So we have more people here, or more companies here, offering policies so that people can get lower premiums.
All right. When you guys have a good solution on that tax, we'll invite you back for sure. Secretary Nelson, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.